The package looked normal, just a plastic-wrapped bundle of turkey breast, tucked neatly among dozens of others in the refrigerated display. But what one Illinois mother discovered after opening it would spark a statewide health investigation and a lawsuit that's still ongoing. Inside, mold green, thick and visibly pulsing with bacteria. The sell-by date, still 5 days away. Within 24 hours, her 4-year-old son was vomiting uncontrollably. He was rushed to the ER, diagnosed with listeriosis, a potentially deadly bacterial infection. And the most chilling part, that turkey came from a major grocery chain that millions of Americans trust every day. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. Walk into your average supermarket deli, and you'll see friendly staff, shiny slicers, and neatly stacked meats. But behind that sanitized glass, something far more sinister may be lurking. According to a 2024 investigative report by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, deli counters in certain grocery chains have become breeding grounds for dangerous pathogens including Listeria monocytogenes, Salmonella, and even E. coli O157. 7. What makes deli meat especially dangerous is how it's handled after it's sliced. Unlike factory-sealed packages, deli sliced meats are often exposed to ambient air, cross-contamination, and fluctuating temperatures. Add to that infrequent sanitation of slicers, sometimes only once per shift, and you're looking at a perfect storm for microbial disaster. In chains like Kroger, Publix, and Safeway, undercover audits have revealed slicers crusted with residue from previous shifts, gloves being reused between tasks, and even workers wiping down counters with dirty cloths. While the world was still watching the aftermath of COVID-19, a silent outbreak spread across 6 states in mid-2023. Hospitals in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Georgia began reporting a sharp increase in foodborne illness cases. The common thread? Pre-sliced deli meat purchased from Walmart supercenters and ALDI locations. The CDC eventually traced the outbreak back to a single meat distributor supplying multiple chains. Testing found strains of Listeria genetically identical to those infecting patients, many of them elderly or immunocompromised. At least 19 people were hospitalized. 3 died. Yet the media barely covered it. Why? Because the USDA classifies deli meat contamination as an ongoing risk, meaning outbreaks aren't even considered surprising anymore. When you buy Ostermeyer, Boar's Head, or Hillshire Farm, you assume the brand name guarantees safety. But even these trusted giants have faced recent recalls. In March 2024, over 23,000 pounds of Ostermeyer ham were pulled from shelves after tests revealed traces of Listeria during random sampling in a North Carolina processing plant. The factory, owned by Kraft Heinz. Inspectors found improperly sanitized slicing machines, inconsistent refrigeration, and employee hygiene violations, including staff skipping mandatory glove changes. One whistleblower shared footage showing meat being handled with bare hands and dropped packages being returned to shelves. These aren't isolated incidents. The USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service, FSIS, issued over 50 deli meat recalls in the last 2 years alone. And most of them flew under the radar. In a chilling 2022 expose by Inside Edition, hidden cameras placed in several Trader Joe's and Target grocery store delis revealed a disturbing truth. Some slicers went unclean for up to 48 hours. That's 2 full days of meats, cheeses, and juices mixing and marinating into a bacterial playground. According to FDA guidelines, slicers used in commercial food settings must be taken apart and cleaned every 4 hours. But compliance? Optional in practice, and what happens when you violate that rule? In most cases, a slap on the wrist, a small fine, and a promise to do better. Consumers, meanwhile, are kept in the dark until someone ends up in the hospital. Some names keep popping up in contamination reports, lawsuits, and food safety complaints. According to public health databases, the following chains have had repeated violations involving deli meats over the past 5 years. Walmart, recurrent Listeria and Salmonella issues, multiple quiet recalls in 2023 to 2024. ALDI, supplier-linked contamination, slow response times during outbreak investigations. Kroger, hygiene violations reported across multiple states, linked to 2022 deli turkey recall. Safeway, Albertsons, under FDA's scrutiny for repeated infractions, including cross-contamination. Publix, internal audits revealed failure to follow slicer sanitization schedules. Shockingly, none of these chains have faced meaningful penalties beyond administrative warnings or minor fines, often under $10,000. Unlike many bacteria that die in cold temperatures, Listeria thrives in refrigerated environments exactly where your deli meats are stored. It can survive and multiply on slicers, packaging machines, and even the interior walls of refrigerators. Once ingested, Listeria can cause sepsis, meningitis, and miscarriages in pregnant women. According to the CDC, it has a 20% fatality rate, far higher than E. coli or Salmonella. And here's the terrifying part. You can't see, smell, or taste it. That's what makes eating deli meat from improperly maintained stores so risky. You won't know it's contaminated until it's already too late. In late 2023, a former deli department supervisor from a Walmart in Houston, Texas, went public with disturbing details. Speaking anonymously to ProPublica, she claimed her store's deli slicers were cleaned only once daily and often not thoroughly. Sometimes the night shift would skip it altogether, she said. They were under pressure to get everything done fast, and honestly, no one was checking. She also revealed that expired meats were occasionally repackaged with new dates to avoid shrinkage losses. If a pack of ham had a sell by July 3rd and today was July 5th, they just slap a July 7th sticker on it and move it back to the front. Despite strict-sounding FDA and USDA regulations, enforcement is weak. That's because most food safety laws rely on self-reporting. Stores are expected to follow the rules, but inspections are rare and surprise audits even rarer. In 2024, the Government Accountability Office, GAO, found that more than 60% of grocery stores hadn't had a full food safety inspection in over 2 years. Even when violations are discovered, stores rarely face criminal charges. Instead, they settle civil suits quietly, often with non-disclosure agreements to keep the bad press contained. And meanwhile, the contaminated meat? It's still being sold. So what can you do? Experts recommend avoiding store-sliced deli meats altogether, especially if you're pregnant, elderly, or immunocompromised. Instead, buy pre-packaged meats from brands with strong safety records and always check the use-by dates carefully. Better yet, cook meats at home. If you must buy from the deli counter, ask these questions. Asterisk, when was this meat sliced? Asterisk, when was the slicer last cleaned? Asterisk, can I see the packaging date? If the staff hesitates or can't answer clearly, walk away. We think of deli meat as convenient, harmless, even nostalgic. A turkey sandwich for lunch. Ham and Swiss for the kids. A quick, ready-to-eat option from stores we've trusted for decades. But beneath the surface, a hidden crisis is unfolding. A food safety system riddled with loopholes. Chains that cut corners. Inspectors overwhelmed. And consumers left in the dark. How many people have to get sick before someone takes it seriously? It doesn't show up on your grocery receipt. It's not listed on any corporate website. But right now, in dozens of U.S. cities, a gray market of bulk, near-expired deli meats is quietly moving through the back doors of major supermarket chains, often under the radar of health officials. According to a leaked internal memo from a major East Coast grocery wholesaler, store managers facing tight shrink budgets are being encouraged to accept discounted remainder deli meats unsold inventory from distribution hubs nearing expiration. These meats are often relabeled, repackaged, or rebranded, then sold directly to customers as fresh sliced products. Most disturbing, these meats may have already been rejected by other locations or stored improperly during transport. Several former regional managers from Food Line and Stop and Shop confirm this practice, saying it's been common knowledge for years. But because no law requires grocery chains to disclose internal supply chain movements, customers remain unaware. It's legal, it's shady, and it could be sitting in your fridge right now. Food safety isn't just about clean hands and working slicers, it's about layout, airflow, and storage infrastructure. And in many grocery chains built before 2010, the deli sections were designed for speed, not safety. A 2023 architectural audit by Food Safe America found that older stores often have open air-cooled cases, overloaded walk-in freezers, and inadequate drainage near deli counters. These designs create what experts call passive cross-contamination zones, places where juices from raw meats can mix with cooked products, or where air from seafood counters can drift toward deli meat displays. Modern food safety protocols recommend completely enclosed cold chain logistics, separate prep areas for meat and cheese, and UV sanitization lighting after hours. Yet over 40% of mid-sized grocery chains in the U.S. still use the outdated model. And with remodels costing millions, most stores simply don't update. They just keep selling. Here's the dirty secret about grocery inspections. They're announced ahead of time. The USDA and FDA do conduct surprise visits, but local health departments where most deli operations fall under regulation often give 24 to 72 hours notice. That gives management time to prep. Clean slicers, restock coolers, coach employees. One health inspector in Los Angeles County admitted anonymously that by the time they arrive, most delis are at performance stage. He described seeing stores that scored a C grade 1 week, suddenly passing within it after just a few adjustments. And when stores fail, the violations are often administrative, not enough logs, missing date labels, minor temp errors, rarely the dangerous stuff like moldy meats or filthy equipment. Even worse, in many jurisdictions, repeat violations don't trigger automatic shutdowns. A store can fail 3, even 4 times in a year and still be slicing meats for your family sandwich. Most people who get sick from deli meat don't die. But when they do, the details are buried in bureaucratic silence. One case in Cincinnati, Ohio stands out. In February 2023, a 76-year-old man died from listeria-induced meningitis, the only common link in his daily diet. A ham and cheese sub purchased twice weekly from the Kroger deli near his home. Hospital records show he was healthy. No pre-existing conditions. No immunocompromised status. But listeria moved fast, causing fever, confusion, and coma within 48 hours. His family demanded answers. They got none. The coroner listed foodborne listeriosis as the cause of death, but no lawsuit followed. Why? Because deli meats are considered a known risk category by food safety standards. Legally, that means consumers assume the risk when purchasing, especially from stores with visible labeling. This wasn't an isolated case. Between 2021 and 2024, over 80 listeria deaths in the U.S. were traced back to deli meats. Most were quietly archived in CDC records, never reaching the headlines. Boar's Head is marketed as the gold standard in deli meats. Its products are often sold in dedicated counters, sliced by specially trained staff and priced significantly higher than store brands. But multiple investigations have shown that Boar's Head meat is often handled in the same environment, with the same equipment, and by the same staff who process lower-tier meats. In 2024, a whistleblower from a Publix location in Florida released video footage showing Boar's Head meats being sliced with a blade that hadn't been cleaned since the previous shift, despite corporate policy requiring hourly sanitization. Even worse, the store's night manager was recorded saying, "It's Boar's Head. No one ever questions it. Customers pay more thinking they're buying safety. In reality, they're just buying branding." When you pick up a vacuum-sealed pack of deli meat, that date on the front feels like a guarantee. But it's not. Retailers are allowed to print their own sell-by or best-if-used-by dates so long as they stay within a suggested FDA range. But that range is huge, up to 45 days from packaging for certain meats. Some stores exploit this by repackaging unsold meats with new labels, a process technically legal if the product hasn't breached refrigeration guidelines. But in one damning 2023 case, an Albertsons store in Colorado was caught extending use-by dates by an additional 10 days on turkey breast that had already been returned by customers. An internal memo revealed a zero-waste initiative that encouraged managers to avoid shrink at all costs, even if it meant keeping old meat on shelves. The kicker? That same location had passed its last health inspection with a 98%. Deli workers are on the front lines, and what they see behind the curtain would terrify most customers. In interviews with current and former employees from Meijer, Giant Eagle, and Whole Foods, many described being overworked, understaffed, and pressured to cut corners. One former worker from Whole Foods in Seattle said she was expected to slice over 300 pounds of meat per shift, clean her station, and lop everything manually, all while covering cheese, olives, and catering platters. "There's no way we had time to sanitize properly," she said. "Sometimes we just wipe down with sanitizer sprayed and keep going." Others described being ordered to ignore spoiled meat, to trim the green parts, or give it a sniff before tossing. And if they pushed back, "I was told I wasn't being a team player," said a former ALDI deli associate. One of the most underreported risks with deli meat? Cross-contamination from cheese, seafood, or poultry handled in adjacent departments. In many grocery chains, the same staff rotate between deli, meat, and seafood counters, sometimes within the same shift. And if you think they always change gloves, sanitize their hands, and switch aprons each time. Think again. In a 2022 study published by the Journal of Food Protection, 72% of observed deli counter workers did not change gloves after switching tasks, even after handling raw or allergen-heavy products. That means your turkey breast could easily be carrying traces of shrimp, salmonella, or allergens like tree nuts even if the packaging looks clean. This is especially dangerous for customers with allergies or compromised immune systems. For them, even microscopic contamination can mean anaphylactic shock or hospitalization. The next time you reach for that neatly stacked pack of sliced roast beef, ask yourself, who sliced it? When? How often was that blade cleaned? What bacteria is lurking inside? Because when you're eating deli meat from some of the biggest stores in America, you're not just buying lunch. You might be gambling with your life.